Hey guys, what's up? This is Little Pickers, and today I wanted to do a bit of a different video. See, I was recently watching a video by a YouTuber called Coolio. Pretty sure most of you, if not all of you, know who I'm talking about. Where he was talking about a new challenge that Sparking Zero is going to be facing, and it's how to get new players on board. Cause with the rank reset that was released a couple of days ago, or I think a week already. The skill level in online is definitely much higher than what it used to be when the game came out. This guy was talking about how, for example, Syriax, who was another prominent player, had left the game for a couple of months and came back and was definitely struggling with players online. And I definitely agree with that. I feel that now that we're more... the game's much more balanced out. A lot of the patches that have come out have done really good work, and ranks now do mean something. Unlike before, where C ranks were just MUI Goku spamming MUI Goku's antics, right? So, in the light that this game admittedly does have a learning curve, I wanted to put my grain of sand into this and for the community. So, I'm doing this, as you can see in the video title. This is going to be basic combos that you can apply in online. I'll be doing a showcase about this at the end of the video. Pretty much, I'll be limiting myself to just using those things. So I'll try very hard to focus mainly on the concepts that I'll be going over in this video. So that you can actually see how they can be applied in battle and actually exploit them yourselves, okay? So, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the hyperbolic time chamber, guys, and let's get started. Okay, guys, so in this video, I'm gonna be going over the basic rush chain actions, step-ins, also covering their beginnings and mid-combos, vanishes and pursuits, also highlight some differences between characters there, grabs, and after that I'm gonna try and do a little bit of a showcase for you to see how I would apply these online and hopefully not make a fool of myself in the process. Okay guys, so we're gonna go ahead and start with basic rushes. This is something that every character can do, obviously, which is your 5 square input. On the 5th hit, you're always gonna push your opponent a little bit further away from you, like so. Now, I like to think about combos in Sparking Zero like puzzle pieces, but also highways. Now, what do I mean by highways? Or like paths you can choose. There are several options where you have at your disposal when you land that 5th hit. So, I push Goku away. Oop, not like that. I push Goku away like this, and I can step in. I can continue the combo like this by just smashing square away. I wouldn't really recommend that one though. It's very easy to react to and easy to vanish. Like I feel like a lot of high-level gameplay players react to that and see that as a very clear opening. So I would not recommend you to do this. Again, because it's very easy to react to and you're pretty much just setting yourself up for your opponent to counter you at that point. So it's still one option, right? Not a very good one, but it's still an option. Another thing that you can do from here is charge a Ki Blast and send it to your opponent. Now, I'm gonna go over this later on why it's a good idea. For now, since this is just the basics that I want to go over, I'm just setting an example. So again, you have several options to go from this point. You can step in, you can extend it like I was showing you earlier, but I wouldn't really recommend it. You can extend it with this as well. There are various options. Now, one very common way that players will extend their combos, so it's not just the 5 hits, because I'm pretty sure you've seen other people do different actions, right? How do we do them? These are called rush chain actions, and again, all characters have them. I think giant characters don't. Don't quote me on that. I'll put it here on screen. I'll check after this video and add it here on screen. But yeah, rush chain actions. Each character has 4 rush chain actions, and they're slotted in a way that after a certain amount of times that you've pressed square, they will pop up. right? So for example, if I press square once and then go for triangle, you do flying kicks. If I press square 2 times and go for triangle, sorry, that was 3. 2 times will give me Key Blast Cannon, and 3 times will give me Rolling Hammer. And 4 times is gonna give me the Gut Punch. Wait, sorry. There we go. So, this Gohan specifically has 4 different rush chain actions, which makes him a really good character. Not all characters have the same rush chain actions. For example, this Goku could have flying kicks, but, or well, better yet, I'm gonna show it here. Even between forms of the same character, their rush chain actions are not gonna be the same. Remember, Ultimate Gohan's rush chain action on the second slot was a Key Blast Cannon, but for base form, it's a Gut Punch. They do both have their flying kicks on the first one, but again, if you go for the second rush chain action, base form is gonna give you a Gut Punch, while Ultimate is gonna give you a Key Blast Cannon. So, this is to highlight that every character will have their particular moveset, even between forms. So, when you choose a character to play, get familiar with it. It doesn't matter if it's Goku, because I know we all like to play with Goku when we jump on to a Dragon Ball game. Goku is a very OP character, I'm not gonna lie. He's a real good option if you want to start out and first understand how to make combos and everything. He's a good example of rush chain actions and everything, because he has a really good kit and it's fairly easy to combo with it. Again, now, coming back to the video. These rush chain actions are a good way for you to extend your combos. See? I went from 5 hits to 16. And you can get even nastier than this. But for now, this is pretty much just all you need to already impress your friends and make it a decent chunk of the way in online. Now, not all rush chain actions, but some rush chain actions have certain extensions. You can prolong the combo by taking that specific route. Now, flying kicks doesn't have that, sadly. If you press triangle again, you're just gonna spam Key Blast. If you press square, you're not gonna do anything, you're just gonna jump back into your basic rush. So, this is to show you that this is an example of a rush chain action that doesn't have an extension. Key Blast Cannon does though, and okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll show you the first one. So we hit square 2 times and then triangle, but if you charge it and press triangle again, you'll teleport right next to your opponent and send them flying away. Now you can't tell that here because we were in the ground, but if I do it in the air, see, I send him flying away. That's one way that you can extend that combo. Obviously, if you send them flying away, you won't be able to carry out the combo again. You want to pursue them. Now, I will go over that, but later down the line. Now, another side note. Not all characters can do the same rush chain action extensions. Another option that you have for the Key Blast Cannon is this. All of those additional hits that I landed, those last 3 hits, were all with square. Not all characters can do that one. So again, you wanna choose a character and test this out. You can always go to the explanation of controls, and right here where it says rush chain actions, it'll tell you which actions the character can perform and which ones he can't. Well, you can deduce that if they're not here in this menu. So you can see that here it's telling you that if you go square once and then triangle, you'll do flying kicks, which is the one that I was showing you earlier. The Key Blast Cannon, which is 2 square ones, 2 and 3. And you also have the other one, which is with triangle. This also applies to the gut punch. This is the Rolling Hammer, but well, yeah, let's go over this one. Let's go in order. So Rolling Hammer also has its fair share of extensions. It has 2, and if we go to our explanation of controls, it only has 1. Like, you only have 1 extension for that, which is the Rolling Hurricane, I think. Yeah, you press triangle once more and then square. So 1, 2, 3, triangle once, triangle twice, and then square. See? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. There is another action that you can perform, but this Gohan doesn't have it. See? Just to give you an example. Actually, yeah, let's go ahead and show that other one. Alright, so I think yours is on the second one, yeah. So, again, square, 2 squares and triangle now give you rolling hammer, not the key blast cannon. So, again, you want to get familiar with your character. Now, here's the other one. Oh, sorry, not that. Oh my god. See? This is another extension that you can do with the rolling hammer. Again, you can go to explanation of controls and it should appear there now that I'm in this form. Here it is. The rolling press. So, when you turn your opponent around, you pull the analog stick backwards, like towards you, with triangle, and then press square. And that's how you get that action. Now, you might have noticed I didn't finish it. That's something that I do want to touch upon. Now that we've talked about... Oh, no, I want to go back to Ultimate. Now that I've shown you... I don't want to go over each rush chain action, because... Although I pretty much already did, but there are more rush chain actions, just that not all characters are gonna have all rush chain actions. That's way too OP. But yeah, grab your character, start experimenting with that, and take a look at the explanation of controls. The game doesn't do a very good job of telling you how to combo or all these things that I'm sharing with you, but at least having this manual can help you all get even more familiar with your character, and you'll see why that's important as we progress through the next couple of videos. But that being said, we're more than ready to move on into step-ins. Okay guys, now that we went over rush chain actions, now we're gonna go over step-ins. And here's where we really start to expand even more. These are just 2 concepts that I'm telling you about, and there's already an infinite, like this huge toolbox that you can play with. It really does come down to the character that you choose. Again, I'm being very empathetic with that. I'm sorry, but I think it's really important to mention. There's something called the proximity zone, which is when you get to a certain distance from your opponent, you start moving slower. See? If I get away, I start moving faster. And here I'm moving much slower. This is the proximity zone. When you enter this area, when you press X, you won't do these short burst dashes that consume ki, by the way. You want to be careful about that. You will be doing these side steps instead, or step-ins. If you give it a direction with the analog stick, you will sidestep sideways, backwards, front. You can do it front by default. You don't have to move the analog stick forward and press X. Just by default, X will do it, right? You can step in and then go right in for the combo. A very, very common thing is for you to wait for your opponent to rush in and sidestep out of the way, and then go for the combo. Because this is normally what can happen. You sidestep out of the way, and now you're facing your opponent back. I mean, your opponent is facing backwards, right? You're behind them, and this is a very vulnerable position. I'll go over that later, but just know that if you can get behind your opponent, you're pretty much at the advantage there. There are ways to break out of it, but again, I'm gonna just limit myself to the basics here for now. We're just going over combos and attacking, right? So, you step in, and then you can start attacking your opponent. And of course we can start playing with the rush chain actions. Oh, not that one. That's not for this video. Sorry. Got betrayed by muscle memory there. So step in, and then you... Son of a... Step in, and then you start... See? You start playing around, and you can extend your combos that way. Now, remember when what I was talking about at the beginning earlier in the video? which is after the 5th hit, you'll push your opponent a little bit further away. If you press X, instead of keep smashing square, you are gonna do another sidestep and step in closer to your opponent. This is a very good way to extend your combos. And when you do so, if you charge the next attack, it doesn't count towards your basic rush, and it can also throw your opponent's timing, throw them off. So like this. See? Now, right there, I'm just doing it neutrally. I'm not adding directions or anything. I'm just smashing square and X. That's all I'm doing. Right? But you can actually play around this, because when you push your opponent away and step in, you actually give them enough time for them to block. And if you go in neutral, which is what I mean by this, this is going neutral. I'm not inputting any direction for the next attack to after the sidestep. I'm just X and square, right? But if I go X and up square, it does a different action, and the same thing goes downwards. Why is this important? Because when you step in, your opponent has 3 options. Either they block high, which is gonna interrupt your combo if you go down, if you go square down, right? Like this. You can block that high. If you go in neutral, which is this, and they're blocking neutral, they interrupt your combo. They kind of sort of break out of it. And if you go upwards, they can block below. So it sort of becomes a mind game. But what I want you to take away from this section of the video is when you step in, you can continue the attack and you have the option to go neutral. I personally don't like going neutral because usually people will be blocking there first. I prefer to go upwards or downwards. And you want to mix it up. Try and work on that. Try and mixing it up every stream, because as you can see, you can do this twice. Once, I did neutral there, and twice. And then, I drop the combo. So you want to mix it up and not go always for neutral, and not always go for the same one. Right? Because if your opponent catches on and they're observant, they're gonna know that every time you extend the combo with those step-ins, you're going downwards. So they know that they just have to block up and that's it. They block out of your combo and they start to read your attacks. So that's why I'm suggesting that you want to mix it up. To keep your opponent guessing. Because that is where your advantage is gonna lie. In having your opponent remain in the state of uncertainty of, is he gonna continue the combo here? What is he gonna do there? You know? It's a good way for you to also guarantee or increase the success rate of your combos, because there's no such thing as a true combo here. True combos are basically, if you don't know, are stream of inputs that basically guarantee the entire action from beginning to end plays out. That doesn't exist here. There are 100 ways for your opponent to break out of your combos, and you want to try and limit that as much as possible. So again, mix it up. I went upwards and then I went neutral, and then I drop Goku there. Now you might notice that I haven't done any rush chain actions in the demonstration, and partially because I want to keep it simple. It's also because if you don't use any rush chain actions, you can extend this combo 3 times. But if you do use rush chain actions once, see, I extended it once and I dropped the combo there. Normally, an ideal moment for you to start using your rush chain actions will be in the 3rd extension, because here you've already used up all of your other extensions, right? You've already used up all the 2 step-ins that you have. So at this point, no matter what you do, you are gonna drop the combo if you don't start using your rush chain actions to extend it a little bit more. Now, I say ideal because, as I mentioned earlier, there's no such thing as a true combo. If your opponent is good with counters, especially super counters, do not have hope. Simple. Because I don't necessarily always go for all 3. I would pretty much advise you can use them at the beginning or at the end, because there you saw I extended it again. But if I go for it one third time, I will drop the combo. So I would suggest that you usually go for rush chain actions at the beginning to either break through your opponent's guard or position them better with the rolling hammer, and then go for the extension, right? For that step in that I was talking about. And then you can start playing again with other rush chain actions. And I do want to emphasize you want to use others, because if you use flying kicks once, you can't use it again, even if you extended it. See? There I dropped the combo. You can only use each rush chain action once in a string, okay? There are workarounds for that, but again, that's not for this video. Now, another thing that I want to go over with the step-ins is, I mentioned earlier that when you step in, you can go for the basic rush attack, right? Just standard square input. Again, all characters have a sidestep. I guess you could call it like a step-in action, I guess. Which is where you press X again, and if you press triangle, you will perform one of your rush chain actions. This is a good way to get to know your character a little bit faster. If, I don't know, for the sake of it, you want to like grab random characters and play with them against your friends, for example, I guess. That's a fun thing. A quick way to know what your character can do is go for the sidestep action. For their step-in. I call them their step-in, for simplicity's sake. Now, my Gohan's is a gut punch, but again, each character is different. If I do that with this Gohan, he does flying kicks. And another thing that you want to keep in mind here is, if you do flying kicks as a step-in, you can't use it in your rush chain action then. As a rush chain action, because here's what happens. You drop it. The game will count that as the one time that you could use your rush chain action. So be careful about that, because you might think it's... You can also use this mid combos, right? So instead of going for square, I go for the step in, and this is actually another way to keep your opponent guessing on what you're gonna do. Step in is an incredibly useful tool, and I'll go over more of its applicabilities again later down the line, but right now you can already see how it can help you mix the game. It can help you mix up the game so much more. You can also use this if you sidestep out of the way, and a very not very common tactic, but a good practice that I've seen other players use against me is they'll sidestep backwards, and they can, okay, I'm not gonna go over that yet, but they sidestep backwards and they charge their step-in attack, and it'll sort of kind of magnetically pull them towards you, and then they can land it. This is a really good way to delay, because sometimes your opponent will be able to time your step-in just in time, and it's very dangerous, because if you go for this and your opponent manages to sidestep you, now he has your back, and this is a very compromising position to be in, no matter the context. So a good way to work around that or mess with the timing is, again, you go backward, you sidestep backwards, and then you charge your rush chain action, and you can throw your opponent off. Now again, you want to play with that. Don't always charge it, because you make it predictable and your opponent knows that he just has to wait for you to charge it and sidestep out of the way. So again, mix it up. Don't always time it the same way, because that can be punished as well by your opponent. So again, it's really fun. Now again, if you use these step-ins, you can't use the rush chain action afterwards, because then you will drop the combo. Now this is what I meant when I was talking about step-ins at the beginning or at the end. Step-ins are step-in actions or step-in attacks. Oh, the step-in, for crying out loud. The step-in. This is a very common and useful way to start combos. Mainly because when you sidestep, you're sort of positioning yourself so that your opponent you're kind of looking for that opening by your opponent, right? Now, you want to be careful because this isn't always a guarantee. There are ways to counter sidestepping out of your opponent's attack. So be careful about that, okay? This is kind of like boxing, where you need to have good footwork in order to make sure your combos can land. So you can go here, and then... And also... Oh, wait, what? Wait. Okay, there we go. So yeah, if you also start with your step in, just be aware that you pretty much locked yourself out of that. You pretty much locked yourself out of that third rush attack that you can do, right? Because you started with a rush chain action. So I don't know why it's so inconsistent here. There you can see that I am losing it sometimes. But my point with that is, in a real match, if you start with a sidestep, be careful not to aim for the third extension for this one, because you are gonna drop it. The game will count this as you using a rush chain action as well. So all the same restrictions, but it is a great way to start combos. Especially if you have flying kicks as well, because flying kicks, each rush chain action, this is not something that I've dived into very much, because I don't want to like overbloat this with information, but the rush chain actions do have their tactical value to them. Because, for example, this Gohan's step in is flying kicks. Instead of a gut punch that can stun my opponent, I'm going for flying kicks that can break through my opponent's guard. Because I can show you here. If you've ever dealt with a player that you're blocking and they still manage to break through your defense, chances are it's because of this. You can see right there, I managed to break through Goku's defense. See? So flying kicks does have its value, as well as gut punch, because you can stun your opponent and position yourself behind them, so you can continue your attack. So I can show you that here, again. Attacks, keep in mind, attacks that stun your opponent are very good, because they pretty much allow you to set the pacing of the match. There I stun Goku, move backwards, and I can keep on with my combo. See? This is something really common that players will do, because again, having your opponent behind your back is very compromising. You can't use revenge counters. You don't have a chance to block, because there's no way you're gonna be blocking if he's behind you. Your only options at that point are super counter, which is a bit difficult to pull off, and super explosive shockwave, which not all characters have. So yeah, each rush chain action has its tactical value. I don't want to dive into that too much here, since we are still talking about step-ins. But the applicability of step-ins, again, is very big. I'm not going over everything that you can do when you step into your opponent, so just keep that in mind. But with this, I think you're pretty much set to start your own combos. Alright? So, that being said, we're good to go ahead and move on into Vanishes and Pursuits. Hey guys, what's up? This is a Little Pickers from the future, and I decided to jump in and cut the video short here. Well, short being the operative word, right? Because we're already around the 30-minute mark, and I really didn't want this video to be that long. I was hoping for it to be at least 20-25 minutes maximum, because as an onboarding guide for newcomers to the game, I don't want this to be like an hour-long thing. We still have Dragon Dash, Dragon Pursuits, and Dragon Vanishes, sorry, grabs, and also that demo that I mentioned at the beginning of the video for me to go over. So I'll be including that in a second part. I already have the footage. It's mainly that I don't want these videos to be that long. So I'll be uploading that second part, I think very likely during the same week, if not the same day. So it's just a matter of me jumping in, finishing the editing, and then uploading it. So for now, this is gonna be it, guys. Let me know down in the comments below if there's anything that I missed that you would like me to include, or that you think you can add, or you should add to the things that I've already covered in this video. And like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Be seeing you in the next one, guys. And again, thank you for checking out the video. Have a good one, everyone.